You're listening to the All In Podcast with your hosts, Shane and Blake, giving you a new perspective on the dental industry. Are you ready to go all in?
Let's do this.
Welcome to the All In Podcast, the podcast that brings you a new perspective on the dental industry. I am Shane McElroy, and I'm joined by my good buddy, Blake McClellan. How are you, my friend?
Not too bad. It's heading to midwinter tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. I got to give you the podcasting stuff. I don't know how that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, if we do it, we'll just do it amateur style because I've got to take a bunch of stuff up there for the trade show.
You're having an amateur anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, and we were going to interview with Heath and Ty, but they're not going to be there. They're doing a course in Scottsdale with Marinfar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, last minute they're not going to be able to make it. So I had just texted them the other night. They were saying that they weren't going to be there. So, oh well.
All right then.
I'm going to go see. Yeah, I'm going to go see Christian from the Dental Yogis. He's teaching.
A
super
breakout
cool
guy.
Yeah.
Like nicest dude ever.
You
want to hate him because he's like freaking perfect, but he's like the best.
Literally the nicest. Him and his fiance, they're amazing. I think it's fiance. Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, I don't think they're married quite yet.
No, but yeah, man, they're great people, and he's going to be giving a breakout there at the meeting, so that'll be fun. And then I've got a couple booths there, so I got something with the implant compare stuff, and then with the ProMed stuff. So. And meetings.
Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah.
Just another trade show.
I'm going to write another article on my flight back. Try to volume 2, this article style there.
I'm going to copy you like every other company does, and I'm going to start doing that on my flights as well.
Today has been a controversial day. So you've got Brian Balawas, who posted that hilarious meme about what your in-house milling looks like versus what you think it looks like.
Even does in-house milling, man. I don't know why people get so offended.
Because people, I mean, there's just, honestly, it was because of the Facebook groups. Facebook groups have just come down to this really keyboard warrior thing, man. Like, that's the problem with people hate Facebook because you go on there and you got 19 people who are just having a bad day looking to take it out on somebody.
Yeah, nobody's nice on there. Ever.
No, and you don't have that issue on Instagram. Like,
ego's
checked at the door. I mean, not yet, but like, it's like, why do you waste your time? And they were just dogging, they were hating on Instagram. It's like, wow, is this really clicky now that dentists are going Facebook or Instagram versus the YouTubers coming up? I mean, like, Jesus.
Oh, come on, man. It's fine. I did a story post on that too, because I saw yours, which was really funny, where it was like eating popcorn. That was neat. And then I did one with, it was, when Matt Barnes like fakes it at Kobe's face and the dude doesn't flinch.
Oh, yeah.
That was Ballywas.
Yeah.
He didn't flinch, but he kept making fun of him. It was fantastic.
Because the guy's authentic and the good guy, he just posted something out there for humor for the dental community, and you got these keyboard warriors that just have nothing better to do. And honestly, the people that were doing it,
did they make this, Sarek? Is their last name Sarek? Did they do? I mean, like, if you can do it, you can do it.
But that's kind of. I'll be honest. Come on, that's Dentsupply's style, man. They love that cult following thing. Like you see these guys, they drink the Kool-Aid all in with Dentsupply. It's hilarious.
Good for them.
I mean, I don't have anything against Dentsupply.
We'll ask our
good
guest
branding
because he's got Sarek too when he comes on.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's that they make some good products, but at the end of the day, like, you burn the town down for that company. Like, geez, like,
it was just a joke. He was more making fun of himself than anything else.
Yeah, because you just speed through it and you make one compared to a lab who's an artist doing it. Come on, like, it's just. Anyways, it was funny. So then, one thing, and then I posted something talking smack about a certain company trying to clone us after meeting with us a bunch, but we're not going to name anybody. Anyways,
can I name them?
No, what? I think at a certain point you just got to be peaceful and relax, and let the speaking be done for itself.
It's all good. They're coming after me too. It's fun.
It's all good.
I like it.
It's all good. I've pretty much gotten a fight with most of the big 5 dental implant companies at some point. So,
yep.
What's the
that's part of the course for you, McClellan.
if you're not pissing people off,
Irish
you're not doing
bastard.
something right, right? And that's a good segue for our guest here, because honestly,
Absolutely. That was fantastic.
if you're not upsetting people, that means you're not disrupting. You're going with the flow and trying to be that way. And our industry is so narrow-minded and analogued, and that's why I think there's just such a craving for disruption. Everybody's just dying for this to happen. And honestly, dentistry got smacked in the mouth with Smile Direct Club. At the end of the day, because we weren't paying attention to the patient side of things, it left a vulnerability in dentistry, and a startup like that came in. And, look, there's a lot of clinical complications with that, but it could have been done on the right foot, I think, and done the right way. And maybe they'll fix some of those issues that dentists have with it right now. But at the end of the day, it disrupted dentistry because dentistry didn't work together to try to find a solution. And that's what I love about this guest, because a lot of people look at this headline from the surface and go, wow, this is bad for dentistry, as they sit, with their gray head, sitting in the background, complaining about everything and not doing anything. Whereas if you actually look underneath the hood of this, it's doing really something positive. And so, I'll let you introduce him, because you're a good friend, and how I met him, and you would make the best introduction here.
Well, you already tried to steal my
I
thunder, but that's okay.
am.
So this guy has actually been a disruptor long before what we'll probably get into the most. He's in Macon, Georgia. He's a general dentist, and he started a dental spa practice in Macon, Georgia, and that disrupted it down there. Like, people got really pissed, and he's an unassuming guy. He's a nice guy. He's calm. I've never seen him angry, and I've known him for a long time. We've been really good friends for a while now. But he's a risk taker in the most positive way possible. He's not afraid to try things, even if and he knows there's a possibility of failing. But he goes, well, if you don't try, you don't know. And I love that attitude. And so, he started with a private practice, the high-end dental spa in Macon, Georgia. Now he's moved on to doing something with Walmart Health, and that's what we'll get into. So, Dr. Jason Mann, welcome to the All In podcast. How are you, brother?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
What an honor for you. I know you've been on like Fox and Bloomberg and all that, but now you're in the big leagues with the All In podcast.
The heavy hitters.
I love it. I love it. This is very thrilling for me to be able to sit down and talk with y'all, because it's funny that Shane and I used to talk all the time, and now he's big time with all the podcasts. Now I don't get called. I'm like, what's going on? Why don't you call me no more?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, I'll tell you, 5 dentists, 3 dental reps, and Shane's mom all appreciate you being on here today. I swear, I feel like this is pirate radio. It's like we're on this. We've got a little small cult following, but hey, it's given us enough life. We're going to keep this thing going.
Hey, it's growing, dude. We released the episode today. It was getting downloaded like crazy. So.
I think it's just the posters. The posters are doing it, man. Lacey literally looks forward to you releasing those every time.
Oh, the comical posts. We need to do one with Jason in there. I'm sure they'll approve of that.
Yeah, those are so good. Good.
Yeah. So, Jason, will you tell your story a little bit? I mean, we met when I first got in. So it's been over a dozen years ago when I was slanging burrs and diamonds, and you were an associate at practice down in Macon. But can you kind of take everybody through like high-level version of what Providence Dental Spa is, like where that came from, just before we get into like Walmart Health stuff?
Oh, yeah, of course. I graduated dental school from MCG back when it was MCG. I still call it MCG.
Okay.
Yep. That's all I know.
How many names has it had now? It's been
27.
Yeah, I just call it MCG Plus. So it's something along those lines.
The OGs know that. The young ones coming up will never know.
Right. And so I got out of there around 2007, came to Macon. I was in the group practice for about 4 years and wanted to do something a little different and wanted to set myself apart. I looked at all the practices that I could all around the state. I'd look for, practice transitions groups and trying to find the right fit for me. But after looking at all these practices, I really couldn't find the really right one for me. And just because either I was, either super nitpicky or I just wanted it my way, like every other person, I guess. So that's what ended up bringing me back to Macon. And I wanted to do something different. And I said, well, you know what? We're going to try to create this kind of the spa type of atmosphere. And when you hear all the dental spa, you think, okay, this is going to be uber expensive, and there's no way I can ever afford to go there. And of course, I get dinged on social media so many times for all the videos we record, or commercials, social media, whatever we do. That's the first thing that they usually say. But after you actually come in and have that experience, and we call it our Providence Dental Spa experience, and so that you can actually see that we're in network with quite a few insurance companies. And so part of the reason for that is why do we want to not allow the customer or patient base to not experience nicer things? Yes, it costs a little bit more, but it's all about the experience. As if you hear
And
me,
Jason, let me interrupt you right there. Let me ask you about this. How did the local dental community in Macon see that? Because there was no dental spa there. I know that for a fact.
oh no.
Was it well received by your colleagues?
Well, it was ridiculed by my colleagues.
Why do you think that was?
Because it's different. And they say, why? Because you look at some of the older school dentists, and and not even have to be older school dentists. It's just some of the dentists. And they say, why are you stepping outside of the box of dentistry? Why do you have to do that to disrupt? Why do you have to do that to engage in patient care?
They just want you to,
Right,
fix
right.
teeth and shut your mouth, right?
Right. But then you go back and look at, why are the patients actually there? They're there to, of course, to get dental work, of course, but they're also there to hear you out, get your expert opinion about what they need, but also having someone to have a concierge type of a treatment. So we have a lot of concierge team members on our team to kind of hold your hand and walk you throughout the process. Because the first thing that patients come in, they don't want to. A lot of them will come in and say, "This is what I want," but is it truly what they want? So you got to really listen to them. And so doing that, listening to them, but also creating that experience, because what's the first thing that you usually hear and smell when you go into the dental office? It's a lot of smell.
Leech baby and
Yeah,
drills humming.
yeah. And so now if we have surround sound everywhere, calming lights, experience, hand paraffin, neck wraps, headphones, dim lights, just
I just stop at the practice just to do that and relax sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised. When we were doing our, I digress a little bit. When we were doing some marketing, we were talking about, initial visits and stuff like that. And we on one of our marketing campaigns, this is complimentary hand paraffin, neck wraps, all this stuff. And I kid you not, I had a call come in and ask to see if they can book an appointment. And we said, sure, of course, we'll try to schedule you in. And we're trying to find out what this person wanted. Come to find out, they just wanted to come in and sit down for the free hand paraffin and neck wrap. I said, unfortunately, that's part of the service. We can't.
You got to put some small type under that now.
Yeah. So of course, we had to change the verbiage a little bit. So, but yeah, so it's those things that you learn not to do that kind of help mold you as a practitioner.
So you disrupted the dental community over there. You started a practice from scratch, and I won't say what your numbers are, but you took a period of massive growth, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of hit a wall there for a minute and then changed some stuff up. I know you focused a ton on marketing, dental implants. I think your rep really forced you into that, but it worked out for you. You got really good.
Yeah, he's a pretty good guy.
Typical Shane. I see him in a Walmart parking lot one time offering free implants out of his trunk. So you got to watch out, man. He's got his own little mobile dental clinic out of his car.
But they were like Strawman implants I found on the ground somewhere.
Wow, he off of it. It was just Horizon. So that's what it was.
Well, let me ask you, did that being disruptive like that, you come into the Macon area and you do that, did it take off initially, or was it really slow going to start?
Well, for the first 3 years, it was slow going. And a lot of people didn't know this about me early on was, prior to doing, opening up the practice and getting everything up to speed, you had to make ends meet. And so, part of the practice, I was working at Providence, but then the other time I was doing mobile dentistry, and that really kind of shed some light on some things, expanded my knowledge on a lot of things that we see in nursing homes and what I can really do differently in the practice and how I mold my treatment for a lot of the elderly if need be. And so, and it gave an eye-opening experience of what is actually out there and what the need really is on certain populations. And so that was always on, a back burner for my mind of at some point in time, I'd like to do something along those lines. But when the opportunity presented itself, we jumped on it. But with Providence, creating that disruption, just to kind of give you an idea, back when I built the practice in 2011, I was one of few practitioners in Macon to actually have a CBCT. So just along those lines alone, trying to see where I wanted to position my practice, and utilizing technology to allow me to provide better service for the patients. That gave me an opportunity to market for that, and got to a point where, of course, then again, after doing the dental spa and then CBCT coming on, then I would get a lot of flack from that, is saying, why do you need this? We've been doing, traditional implant placements for,
you just changed the standard of care and you forced a bunch of people to buy a cone beam, right?
Right.
What a bad guy.
Yeah. But it's the truly amazing part is part of what I would do. I'll give you Shane knows my background a little bit about how I got into dental school. So I really pester a lot of people if I really believe in something and I really want to try to push things. And I
taught him everything he knows.
I was about to say, it sounds like Shane.
That's why we're brothers from another mother. So
that's right.
Yeah. So that being said, when we developed the practice and started bringing on the technology, I started engaging into the public. I did, some live TV on the news and Macon. Then I started going out to not only other practices, but also went to the medical practices as well, and talking to them about how I can use my technology to potentially help them. So we got a ton of referrals coming in to take CBCT scans from plastic surgery, from ENT, from primary care, and then we'll send them off to radiology for them to read. But for these patients that come in from those groups that just had jaw surgery, but they don't want to have a true CBCT or a true CAT scan done down at the hospital, then they can come in here, take a quick CBCT, and I can send over an image for them. They review it. So now I'm getting word of mouth. So I'm getting a lot of patients from the medical center and all the other centers around here.
So you really established like a really strong base network there in the community. It sounds like. I mean, really, it sounds like that's probably a big part of your success is you were out there in the community.
Right. And bringing awareness to what dentistry can do, what the capabilities are with technology, and knowing that it's not the traditional drill fill bill, because you would have so many patients come in and ask us, well, do you do cosmetics? Well, yeah, we do everything practically. And a lot of people come in, have the mindset of, well, it's just general dentistry. You only do fillings, and you go somewhere else for crowns. You go somewhere else for root canals. You go,
which isn't convenient for anybody.
No.
Let's just be honest. Like the referral process of an implant is weird. Let's just be honest. Like it really is and I heard this from somebody outside the dental industry. Actually, my wife, the first time she like understood the process, she's like, why would you send somebody away to somebody else? They put in part of it and then it's got to heal. And then you send them back to do the other part of it. It doesn't make, you don't have that anywhere else in medicine. You do everything else start to finish, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a pathway, right? You go to the orthopedist and then you go into the physical therapy and all that. But I mean, I think when you do the empathy mapping for patients and what it's like being a patient in any aspect of dentistry, it is a nightmare and it takes a lot of time. And it's a lot of time with something that has a stereotype, a negative connotation around it, if you will, right? For a patient side. A lot of them fear it. A lot of them have anxiety, and they only know it as something that when they go there, they find out they have more problems. So,
sure.
I mean, it's something that I think even myself, I delay going more than I should. And I think that I can get that. But when you actually sit down and do the empathy mapping with that, I think that's how you create something like what we're seeing now, what you're doing now, Jason, and this project with Walmart. So I'd love to kind of hear you segue that and how that got tied in and what you're doing with Walmart now and where did that inspiration come from?
Oh, well, this has kind of been a long road, a lot of behind the scenes work, but right now I am, our company is partnered up with Walmart Health to kind of help out with the dentistry aspect of Walmart Health. So if nobody knows about Walmart Health, Google it. You'll pull up a lot of information about it. Go to the site. There are two Walmart Health locations as we speak right now, one in Dallas, Georgia, and the other in Calhoun, Georgia.
And those communities are more rural. They're not they're not close to the city at all, right? They're both within
Right,
like an
right,
hour from the city.
right,
Okay.
right. And so there's a lot that goes into it, but also if you just look at the Walmart Health concept and the Walmart Health building and who and what is inside of it. And so you start looking at, when you walk through the front atrium of Walmart Health, you'll have a care host that comes and greets you with an iPad so that they are checking you in. And so behind the doors, what you don't see is a lot of other specialties. There's medical, dental, behavioral health, vision, pharmacy, audiology, and phlebotomy. And so it's amazing of the synergy that I see between all the practitioners, and how we're kind of partnered up together to provide that ultimate patient experience. What I've kind of been doing at Providence, but doing it for people that never had the opportunity to gain access to care because of cost, because of convenience. Now we're in the areas where these customers and patients come most. And there was a study done, and I can't remember who did it. I just remember hearing it on some of our calls, is that Walmart is within 10 to 15 miles or minutes, I can't remember what it was, of 90% of the US population.
Which is
Oh, wow.
crazy. There's
Yeah.
nothing else like that.
Yeah. And so just thinking about, access to care, having these patients that we see, the majority of when we first started doing it, the majority of the responses, oh my gosh, you're disrupting dentistry altogether. You're taking out the private practice. What you're doing. Yeah. And so, yeah. And so,
Before you break into that, I want to kind of like map this out for people listening, because this is really unique. I want them to understand the kind of high level view of this too before we get into the intricacies. So,
okay.
it's branded as Walmart Health. That's it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then they come in, they just say, "I need something." They're branding it as a general location for your health, which I think is smart, very clever there. And so then they come in, and that's where they go to the different specialties that they need: dentistry, audiology, whatever it may be, right?
Right.
And Blake, let me interrupt because I've actually been in the Walmart Health. I got to go a little behind the scenes the day before the I think it was the Calhoun locations.
Small
opening.
flex. Shane had to push that in
Yeah,
there.
right. No, I had to sneak in the back door. They wouldn't let me in the front door. It was super nice, like really like high end dental spa kind of feel. I'm not joking. And like, I've talked to Jason and he could tell me what he could tell me about what was going on but there's a lot of stuff he couldn't. But then I get in there and I'm like, oh my goodness. I think people hear the name Walmart and then dentistry and associate like, oh, it's going to be low cost. It's going to be like DSO style. Bro, it's beautiful in there.
So it's an actual dental clinic. You go back behind the doors and there's all these different mini clinics within that center.
Correct. And in a beautiful lobby, and they even have this little health center where they're going to run classes and stuff out of it, right? Like it was obviously very well thought out. Nobody thinks twice about getting their glasses at Walmart. I do that, and I didn't even apply for my insurance because it was still lower cost than the other places with my insurance.
Well, I was going to ask, does Walmart offer health insurance
to the
to the general public? Do they have a health insurance plan?
At this point in time, not right now, but with price transparency of what we're doing and trying to offer, a lot of this care that they're seeking and they're getting could be very, very affordable.
Well, yeah, like I'm on the website right now. So medical right now, sick or injury visit, $40. Annual checkup, $30. Annual youth checkup, $20. Dental exam, $50. Dental exam for youth, $40. Like these prices are, do I need to have insurance? Not really for this, you know?
So do you think that this is now offering health service on a regular basis to those who just were not getting medical treatment?
Well, that's you read my mind. Good segue. So, uh, the amazing part about it is a lot of times people will think or assume one thing, but what we really noticed inside the locations, that the majority of these patients that come in haven't been into the dentist 1 to 5 to 10 plus years. And what we're seeing is, I can tell you so many stories, but I can tell you one in particular that, I had a mother crying that she was so happy to be able to have us there to provide service to her son because they could not afford it. They had to start choosing between going to the dentist for initial workup, as our private practice fees, and having that ability to have price transparency, and for Walmart Health to work with them to get that dental care that they need and medical care as well. So we're not there to a point of trying to pull patients from other docs, but the fact of the matter is most of the patients that come in haven't been in 5+ years.
So you're not
the market
cutting.
that's not it's not taking away patients from other people. Most of the patients, this is just my assumption without any data to go with it, is that it's people not getting care already. So it's
Right.
getting more access to care for people.
Which I would say is actually good for all of the dentistry, because then at that point you're identifying implant patients and things like that that weren't even being identified now, right? But when they said, we talked about this before, I think it's like 11% of the patients that need implants are being served. So there's a huge market share not even being serviced. And it sounds like the same thing with general dentistry here. That is,
what's even more impressive to me, Blake, is the integrated healthcare portion of this. That to me is actually something more interesting than just, transparency and pricing is good. Quality dentistry and getting more access to care is great. But when you have primary care, optometry, dental, counseling, x-ray, labs, audiology, and I imagine there'll probably be more down the way. To me, that's the future of medicine, what should be, where total we always talk wellness. About. Exactly, because the mouth is kind of like the eyes are the gateway to the soul. But we know if somebody's got perio, they got issues with, more likely to have cardiovascular disease, all these other things. It's kind of the gateway to the rest of the health of the body. So I think that this model right here is probably what medical and dental should be collaborating on anyways, right? Not to say Walmart, anywhere.
It's almost like it just shows how if you have one initiative with a government organization, you get X result, versus when you bring in private equity and you have a publicly traded company involved in their approach to it. Kudos. I mean, this is really cool. I mean, I didn't understand the whole intricacy of it all, and that makes a complete sense. It's serving a community that just wasn't even being served.
Well, and now you're helping serving Walmart too. It's unbelievable PR for them. Like, and I don't know any of this. This is just the way it looks to me on the outside. They're competing with Amazon. So how do you compete with Amazon? You got to beat them at their own game by getting stuff to you at home, which they're trying to do right now.
It's an easy button. It's an easy button.
You get more people in the store. What am I going to do while my wife's getting her teeth clean? I'm going to go buy a TV probably, right? Or something or whatever, right? It's a smart move.
No, I think that's a very sophisticated model. And to start it out in Georgia, I wonder what made them pick Georgia over all the places they could have gone.
Yeah, why did they pick Georgia? Can you disclose that, Jason?
Well, that's a very good question. I'm sure that, some of the decisions higher up, they had to go in and do a lot of research, and unbeknownst to me, what their metrics are to try to physically pick the locations. But their primary concern right now is trying to find ways to provide access to care for these patients, and where are they coming from, how they're coming to the locations, and what is the impact to the community. Because as you know, a lot of these patients that don't get seen or develop abscesses, where do they end up? They end up at the ER. And what impact does that have? So we've gotten a lot of response from especially the hospitals in the area of saying, thank goodness that you're here, because now we can send our patients to your primary care physicians for triage, as opposed to coming into the ER. So that also helps out with dentistry. But the other cool thing is what I was going to talk to you about a little earlier was the integration between medical, dental in particular. We have so many new patients that come through the doors that haven't been into medical. They have undiagnosed high blood pressure. And as we know, we're trying to treat general dentistry, and we come to find out that we got uncontrolled blood pressure issues. We got diabetic issues. We got a whole host of things, and they don't have a primary care physician. Now we're just being able to enroll them into medical if they do not have a primary care physician.
Into a universal patient record.
Right. So it gives us the ability to create that synergy of taking care of the complete patient. Because as you know, they come in the dental office and, well, you got your blood pressure out of control, go see your doc. And, well, I don't have a doc, so let's try to find something for you. So it all goes into a lot of collaboration within the clinic itself.
Not only the continuity, I mean, of it all. That is so important. When you look at the medical field, it's a disaster, right? And then EHR and all this stuff. And, we have allowed companies to create things that are essentially necessities like EHR or medical records and things like that, and allow them to create their own closed systems. And they're non-universal, non-transferable, and things like that. So to have that and really be starting from scratch, because like you said, these patients haven't been in a clinician in quite some time, to start from scratch and all of it connect together, that's going to have a long-term positive effect from Walmart. That's an easy button.
Agree.
It's an easy button for patients. And that is ingenious. And I didn't think of it from that perspective, but I think that'll be one of the most key components of this entire deal is that is synergy amongst every specialty, and the universal record of that patient is huge.
And that's what we should have had from the beginning. I mean, that could have probably saved lives and extended lives, things like that. But I'm also looking at one other thing. I'm looking at the hours here, Blake. Monday through Saturday, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So I'm going to ask you a question real quick. If I can't afford, usually I'm going to Walmart Health because the prices is something that I can afford, because everywhere else I couldn't. Could I afford to take off time for work to go see the dentist in their convenient hours, that closes at 4 p.m. and I don't work on Fridays and certainly not Saturdays or Sundays. And I'm not judging anybody for that. If you can pull that off, more power to you. I think that's fantastic. However, it's very likely that you can't take days off to take care of your health. Now the hours are around whatever schedule that you actually have, unless you're, working. I mean, really, it's wide open. I mean, that's a big deal.
Let's talk about the single mom with 3 kids, 3 kids. And she's working her tail off between 2 jobs, and she's going to Walmart to get her groceries. I get it, man. I really get it. And I truly understand. And I think no one really could see it for what it is now until it was actually executed. And kudos on you, Jason, for believing in it, because hearing it tugs on my heartstrings, because I spend my Christmas every year working with the Hosea Williams Feed the Homeless, and over 15,000 people are homeless, needing food and meal and care. And some of them may have a little bit of a job or something, but they do health screenings and all that there. And there's such a huge need, man. And when you don't get a proper nutrition or diet or have a healthy lifestyle in the first place, you need this more than anything. And so I think this is amazing. And honestly, you should be applauded for taking the risk and doing this with them, because
pissing off so many people in the process.
Yeah, look, your colleagues, hilarious. I would love to hear what your colleagues have said to you on the negative, because I'm sure you haven't heard some of the nicest things when you took this jump.
Well, it of course
they don't say it to his face, dude. They say it on Facebook groups.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why we're so reluctant to change, and it was stuck in such analog ways in so many capacities in dentistry. But change can be good. Again, you're serving a market that's not even being served. And
if you took the Walmart Health, if you took Walmart off of this and it was just the health clinic, right? Not branded anything, people would be applauding this, right?
Well, they all hated
because
DSOs,
it has Walmart. They're afraid.
They all hated DSOs, but they're all
Jason's
happily
the
selling
boogeyman,
too,
and so is Walmart.
Yeah.
One of the nicest guys I know in my life. People are afraid of. What would you say to the guy who's down the street, drill and filler clinic, that's terrified of this, and he's talking trash on it? What would you say?
Don't be afraid, because what it is a lot of the patients that we see, as I was telling you earlier, haven't had the access of care. And so their primary concern is, like you were saying, talking earlier about the everyday working family, the working mom that works,
The employees of Walmart, right?
Yeah, yeah, even them as well. But just having that opportunity to go and get that dental care and not have to take off of work. So, and create a scenario that they take off of work, but they haven't been into medical, so they got issues with blood pressure, and all of a sudden now they just took off work, can't get treatment. Now got to go to medical, and now have to go back to dental. And how many times have they lost work? What's the loss of revenue? And so just really meeting the customer base and patient base at where they mostly travel and where are they at. And so you go to them and give them the opportunity to provide that service for them. So it's truly amazing to see the response. And you're talking about disruption alone. If you look back and when Walmart did their was the $4 prescription, I'm just hearing internally to all the stories that they heard from patients and did all the research, and where families had in particular a mom had to say, I had to choose between my prescription and putting food on the table for my kids. And so what does the working mom do? They put food on the table, and so now they can actually afford to get that $4 prescription. So the same thing with this is just is getting that ability to provide care to their patient base and the community that never had that opportunity before. And so, of course, telling the dentist that, oh my gosh, this is taken over. No, absolutely not. It's providing that care to that patient base that never had that opportunity. So
there's a major portion of the market that's not being served anyways because either they're afraid or can't afford it. Right.
Right.
Well, and I think, look, again, you guys aren't offering everything service-wise, right? You're not doing oral surgery and all that, are you?
Well, Blake, my goodness, what is dentistry? No, I'm sorry.
You just about freaked everybody out. That's amazing.
To kind of give you a broad stroke of what we do, we do a broad scope of general dentistry. We'll do preventative hygiene, deep cleanings. We'll do the general dentistry. We'll do composites, crowns. We'll also do oral surgery, simple and surgical extractions. We're really not getting into thirds or anything like that. We want to engage into our specialty care with our providers outside to also engage into those providers as well, just because we don't.
So you guys, all your specialists should go make friends with them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So we still engage with them and provide that service to those specialists as well.
So they should actually be reaching out and establishing that relationship then, because again, I mean, for specialty, I think that's their fear is a chuck and thirds shop. they always worry because that's the bread and butter for oral surgery.
Too much liability, I would assume, for Walmart Health, right? Like you don't want to be putting.
Well, it changes the whole clinic build out too, right? You change the whole workflow and the design of your clinics at that point, I would think too.
Yeah. Right. Well, Jason, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Feel free.
We got to wrap this in a second, but I wanted to finish this off with maybe you can help us find what's going on behind this conspiracy theory I had. All right. So, Blake, have you seen Dr. Oz and Mark Wahlberg have this kind of like rivalry thing going on where they're talking trash to it? Right? Do you know, Blake, have you seen this where Dr. Oz, they're talking about like...
I've heard of it. I've heard about it.
Yeah. So they've been talking trash, right? And so what I noticed was at the grand opening of the first location in Dallas was Dr. Oz was there. And Jason's now really close buddies with Dr. Oz. I saw a lot of pictures on Instagram and things like that. And then I saw this. The day after I was at the Walmart Health in Calhoun, who happens to show up the next day but Mr. Mark Wahlberg. Marky Mark. So just randomly, they have this, thing over some health issue, right? That they're talking about social media, and then they're both at Walmart Health. This is a freaking conspiracy. Jason, what's going on here? I need you to answer this right now.
Oh, I would love to answer that.
Because I saw you take a picture of Marky Mark, so I'm just assuming he's your best buddy now too, right?
You can assume, but no. I met him for the first time there. Nice guy. So it was. I'm sure purely coincidental. So
I believe none of that. There is something going on here, and it is the most brilliant marketing I've ever seen. Well, Jason, honestly, you're one of my close buddies. Appreciate you taking the time because I know your schedule's been crazy hectic now. So any last words for the general dentistry community out there? who's terrified of you right now? You want to say, put your gloves on, or just, hey, come get me?
No, absolutely not. I mean, the same thing that I did in Macon. I said, there's such a huge population of underserved patients, and we as dentists cannot serve them all. And should we ever be in that position in that mindset of thinking that we can serve them all? We're here to provide that care to that patient base, whatever that patient base may be. But every patient should be given that opportunity for that access of care. And so that is what we're all about, to provide that access of care to the people that could not get it before, so that they can live better lives.
I think that's a drop the mic thing right there, guys. And so we'll see you next time on the All In Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the All In Podcast. See you next time.